Good evening, fellow entrepreneurs, small business owners, and side hustlers. My name is Ntokozo, and welcome once again to an awesome episode of the Business Forecast. That's right, it's the Entrepreneurs Podcast. It's the show that gets you connected with a variety of business experts and professionals that are here to give you practical tips and tools on how you can take your business to the next level. On top of that, we actually promote your businesses for free and we connect you to a variety of new opportunities for your business that you didn't have before. Why are we doing all of this? Simple, because we believe in small business success. See, we are part of a bigger network under the filigree umbrella of businesses that are coming together to try and help each other grow. And as part of this show, this is what we are doing. We realize that, okay, maybe we need something more. Maybe we need to increase our quality. Maybe the reason why we're not getting funding or getting those tenders is because there's something that we're missing. That's why we have created this show and we're calling these experts so that they can actually help us bridge that gap so that we can start increasing our business quality, right? Because if our business quality increases, it becomes better to attract customers, better to attract funding, and also better to attract bigger opportunities like tenders. And this is what we're about through this particular show. And since we've started, it's been magnificent. All of the guests we've had here have been awesome, and amazing. And I believe that today we're going to have another treat because the guest we have today, super talented in his field, super experienced in his field, and I believe is going to help us out. So, as you know, with the other weeks, we have a topic for today. Now, today's topic is quite interesting, but it's actually something we need to tackle because we need it, right? And the topic is planning for success, right? How to take your business to take it beyond just being a hustle. And this comes from the idea that a lot of our small businesses, we've got this hustle mentality. And there's nothing wrong with that when you're starting out. But if you're going to build a sustainable business and get it to a place where it's actually big and it's actually starting to function as a business that's, heading for success, you got to change a few things. You got to fine tune a few things with your business in order for you to actually be better. And this is what our topic is about. And today, we have Dr. Nischal Khandai to help us out with that particular topic. Now, Nischal Khandai is, like I said, extremely talented and extremely experienced in his field. Guys, we're about to hear from a person who is sought after internationally to hear him speak about business topics, and he's here with us today. I'm very excited for Dr. Khandai to help us with this topic. So, without any further ado, everybody, please help me welcome to the studio, Dr. Khandai. Dr. Khandai, it's such an honor to have you on the show today, sir. It's really great to see you, and I'm really thankful that you accepted our invite to come through today. Just before we get to you, I just want to tell the people a bit more about you so that they know who they're about to hear from. So, Dr. Khandai is a multidisciplinary business professional who has over 25 years experience in the business field. Over the years, he's worked for some of the top companies in the country, serving in the top level of employment in those companies. I'm talking about small businesses as well as listed companies. So in those listed companies, imagine he's held roles such as manager, director, and even executive roles in those companies. And on top of that, he received his PhD in leadership development strategies from Scotland in the UK. And, currently he has been working for some of the business schools in the country as a senior administrator rather, and, just giving out lectures there. So we're about to hear from someone who knows how to teach, who knows how to impart knowledge. And on top of that, just as a cherry on top, as though that was not enough, he actually also is the founder of his own business school called NSK Business School, where he helps business owners and professionals develop themselves into the professionals that they need to be in order for them to be successful in the corporate life, in the corporate industry. So, yes, Dr. Khandai, after that intro, we want to say welcome to our show, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be on your show.
No, thank you, sir. The honor truly is all ours. I think just before we get to the questions that we have for you, a good place to start is to ask you to tell us a bit more about yourself and about your business journey. We know it's been like 25 years, but maybe some of the recent things that you've been building up towards that can help us know a bit more about you.
Thank you for that. More recently, I've been involved in business development for NSK Private Business School. What it is, it's a boutique training center where we teach and coach potential business people, potential entrepreneurs, to get the finer details of how to run a business, but at the same time be trained on how to scale up your business. Many entrepreneurs may remain small indefinitely because they don't actually understand how to scale up the business, how to do a proper business plan, or how to access the client base. So, what we do at NSK is we coach SMME owners. We run classes at their business premises. We run classes at various conference centers and seminar centers where training is focused specifically on the way to manage people, manage process, lead people, and lead processes. Um, Various methodologies are used, like growth wheel and the rock business model, where entrepreneurs are trained to focus on growing your revenue, optimizing your business, but at the same time maintaining cost and transferring your knowledge. So we offer almost mini MBAs to the startup business as well as the startup entrepreneur, where they get all the training customized for them, but at the fraction of the cost. That's what NSK focuses on. And over and above that, for the last few years, I've been supervising and coaching PhD, Doctor of Business Administration, and MBA students, both locally at the local business schools as well as some of the global business schools. So I've been getting insight from various executives and senior executives on some of the difficulties entrepreneurs are having and suppliers are having in accessing credits, in accessing bigger clients, and where the struggle is. So the attempt with NSK Business School is to make sure that we fill in the gaps, and we do it in such a manner where the entrepreneur can close the gap as quickly as possible and succeed. Because the reliance on big industry to employ individuals, close the unemployment gap, and narrow inequality is not going to succeed just with government and large players. It really depends on a whole host, perhaps millions of small players. And it is these small players that will grow and become large economic players in the South African economy.
Phew. Wow. That is quite incredible. Thank you for that. I think it's quite interesting. You look at what you're saying and how it aligns with what we are trying to really push, the agenda we're trying to push with this particular show and the broader network that we have. I like what you said, that it's not just the big corporations or government that are going to actually have a change or make a change in the economy, but it's these small players that are coming together can actually create a bigger difference. And I love the fact that now you've created now this business school that focuses on that, because sometimes as an entrepreneur, I know you can come in, you know how to do your product or you know how to do your service, but you don't realize that there's an actual training in terms of business administration and business growth and business planning that you need. And I think it's beautiful that you've developed such a school. I believe it's so needed. And I think we're very fortunate that we're going to be hearing from you as well today. I think we can head on then to our first question, which is really in alignment with what you were saying, and that, these small players, in order for them to have an impact, they need to succeed. But in South Africa, so many of them are failing. We've got one of the highest failure rates for SMMEs in the world. And I was just wondering, according to you, what are some of the main reasons that SMMEs fail?
There are many. From the research that I've done and the entrepreneurs I've worked with, one of it is not being able to access the clients at the right time. So large businesses spend significant amount of money in advertising, billboards, and social media, radio, television, print media, and a whole host of search engine optimization on the net. But small businesses cannot access that. And quite often, they struggle to access customers or clients. and they struggle to get the right mix of what the client actually wants at the right point in time at the right price. So they end up actually designing or drafting long, tedious business plans of trying to market or sell what large companies are usually doing. And one of the things that small companies need to focus on is to focus on their niche, understand exactly what they can produce at what level, and then access the customer through that. So one of the key reasons for failure of SMMAs in South Africa is the inability to understand what the customer wants, at which rate, and where. So that's access to customers. The second is access to credit and funding. Our banks, particularly the large commercial banks, focus more on large credit, and the criteria is somewhat stringent. In fact, largely stringent. It's written for large businesses, where they to give you credit, they would want to look at 3 years of operating expenses,
Mm.
a credit history, how successful are the directors in their previous jobs, what is the credit rating of the directors in their previous portfolios. Many may take to entrepreneurship because they have left that route of employment. So they don't have a credit history. They don't have 3 years of operating expenses and income statements. So
Mm.
they're not going to get any credit. So if you can't get credit to fund your business and you don't have the clients or understand the clients, then your business is going to fail ultimately. A third large reason, the third most important I've picked up, is the lack of training. You see, when a person has existed as an employee for the last 20 years and now he becomes an entrepreneur, there needs to be a mind shift. It's not a migration of skills, it's not a migration of acumen, it's the development of a new skill. So you may have been a very good electrician in a large electrical company, and now you find yourself a owner of an electrical appliance company. There's a complete mind shift in terms of doing things yourself and delegating versus being that specialist. You could be the specialist in the electrical company as an employee, but when you migrate to a business owner of an electrical company, you've got to be the marketing director, the sales manager, the entrepreneur, the finance manager, as well as the salesperson. So you need to develop a whole host of skills which you did not have in the previous job because it was actually uh, carried out by other members of the staff. So it's the mind shift and lack of training. So many entrepreneurs, both here and globally, believe that you can simply move into a business, start the business, and start trading from day one, hoping for success in a year or 3 years' time without upgrading your skill or changing your mindset. Perhaps changing your mindset into a businessman or businesswoman and changing your skill level is probably more important than getting your customers and accessing credit. So, lack of training, lack of credit, lack of funding, lack of customers would be seen as probably the biggest causes of SMME failures in the first year and perhaps the first 3 years of trading.
Wow, sure. That's absolutely mind blowing. I feel like you described, so many of us to our shame. When you said that there is this thought pattern that we have, that we think because we're able to do something, then it means you can run a company. And I love what you said, that it's not a transference of skills. It's an upgrading. You need to upgrade yourself to a new skill set and a new mindset that will actually help your business grow. And I think that's so profound, and I have not heard it said much, to be honest, because most emphasis is placed on finding customers or finding funding. You ask SMMEs what do they need the most. I promise you 90% of them are going to say we need funding. They believe funding is going to be the be all and end all of all of their problems. But now when you put it that way, it's actually so powerful that there's actually more. There's a skill set behind being able to run and grow a business. And I feel like the lack of training then is one of the reasons why we stay in the realm of trying to hustle, because it's this cycle of just doing the same thing you were doing at your job and thinking that the business is going to grow, which is two different things. I think absolutely profound, and thank you for that. And I think then the question, sir, would be, you mentioned that there's a lack of training. You mentioned that there's a lack of understanding of customers, and there's a lack of access to funding. But I want to start with the training element. What are some of the tools that SMMEs can use, planning tools or development tools that they can use in order to avoid such pitfalls?
One of them is to join an incubation company. So there's good merit in joining an incubator. An incubator is basically a mentor or a company that holds your hand while you're actually evolving or developing as an entrepreneur. So there are a number of both public and private incubators in South Africa, some fully funded and some partly funded. So one of the ways that an entrepreneur can actually get into business and succeed is to perhaps apply or become one of the incubatees in an incubator. So there's merit in an incubator. One, it can assist you in terms of accessing clients, perhaps accessing data for where to market, and they give you a bit of shielding as well as training in terms of how to succeed as a business person. So the incubator is one route. The other route is to learn and to get exposed to individuals like yourself, Mr. Ntokozo, understanding how to become part of a larger ecosystem or a network. And some tools may be available free or at a minimal cost, where one could join a network of companies where they buy and sell from each other. So it is an ecosystem that evolves almost like an ecosystem on its own, where the traders trade on a platform, they get to know each other and what the other products are, and they start to buy and sell from each other, hence increasing the marketplace. So that's an electronic or online system of becoming part of an ecosystem where you start to trade your goods and services. Another tool is to become part of a business network initiative where you can actually meet people face to face. That becomes difficult and has become difficult in the last 2 years with COVID and various restrictions. So online meeting would be probably a good marketplace to get to know others without geographic restrictions. When you get online and you start connecting your business to a whole host of marketplaces, people would be able to access who you are, what you do, at what scale you do it, at a very fast level, which makes it, one, convenient to trade, and secondly, easier to trade, and it is affordable. So getting onto a network or a platform like filigreed.net is another way to access process. And then even cheaper mechanisms, putting your product on WhatsApp, putting your product on Facebook or Instagram or any other online device. People are using the platforms of social media on a daily basis, most often to interact socially and through friendship. And if you could access the same mechanism through working with people and working through processes, you can actually do that. I speak to a number of businessmen on a daily basis and businesswomen, and one of the big problems is if you had to match the people that they engage with on a weekly basis and map next to it how these individuals could help your business or help your sales and goods increase, there's a big mismatch. We tend to engage with people and befriend people that really have no or very little impact on our lives. And it is absolutely imperative that if you want to start a business, grow a business, and network, you need to map down in the last week which people you've engaged with, and which of those people that you linked in on LinkedIn, whether you made contact with them on Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, or any other tool, social media tool or online tool, and see, is there any way this person that you befriended, how does that person connect with your business? And if that person doesn't connect with your business, you're actually wasting your time and energy as an entrepreneur connecting with that person. Because you need to change your mind shift and say, if I'm going to achieve a series of goals in the next month, then each time I join a platform, each time I befriend somebody on social media, or each time I connect on LinkedIn with somebody, is this person going to help my business in one way or the other? Are they going to be a potential client? Are they going to refer me to a potential client? Are they going to refer me to a bank that could assist me or a platform? If there's no correlation between the people you're meeting and the people you need to build your business, then you are actually doomed for a very early death. So
Sure.
when business people go out there to link to social media or to connect, they need to make sure that these are potential customers, potential bankers, potential
Mm,
business associates. South Africans don't do that. They meet in everyone else other than the
sure.
people they need to do business with.
Shoo. Wow, that is incredible. Shoo. And I can't help but think that everything you said in terms of all these tools that businesses can apply in order to avoid the pitfalls of being of failing in the first few years, it all goes back to the mindset or the mentality. You mean you spoke about how it's important for them to connect in terms of networks. It's important for them to talk to the right sorts of people. It's important in them for them to engage on the right ecosystems online and spend their time wisely. I feel like all of this then goes back to that mindset that you said, because if you have a mindset of a business owner, I feel like it becomes that much easier for you to be able to do all of those things that you're supposed to do, because this is a lifestyle. This is something that business owners are supposed to be doing day to day. And it goes back to what you were saying about they need to upskill and change their mentality in order for them to consistently do these things that help them succeed. And I really loved all of those points, and I believe they're so practical that anyone can literally just take them and apply them right now. So thank you for that. We actually have a question here from Marema Lishuta, and it's a question that I was thinking of asking you, but I like the fact that he asked it. So we're just going to show it right here. Basically saying, how possible is it for a new entrepreneur to engage both in training and develop themselves while simultaneously running the daily operations of their business? And something I was going to ask as well, that sometimes SMEs then are feeling like they're so busy doing what they're doing. If you're telling them now they need to put aside some time to go to an incubator or to do these other things, they might not be able to balance those. So how does one do both?
Well, we need to develop the mindset what many European countries do and the Schengen countries, where people work during the day, and so does the small SMMEs. Whether the SMME is actually a hawker sitting on the side of the road selling fruits, or whether the SMME is in practice in a little office somewhere, is you work during the day and trade during the day, and you have to. This is a non-negotiable. You will have to put aside at least an hour or two to train now online. There's a number of courses being offered online, right? Now, the next question is, where do you get money to actually go online? Well, there'll need to be some sort of sacrifice. If you are selling fruits during the course of the day, and if you're working as a mechanic or a self-employed mechanic, and you need to trade during the first 8 to 10 hours of the day, then there is at least an hour or two in the evening, perhaps 2 or 3 hours over the weekend collectively, where you need to set aside that hours and make that sacrifice, decrease the length of your sleep, decrease the length of your social interaction, miss a wedding, miss a family function. It is these sacrifices that you have to do so that you don't remain small for the rest of your life. So if you want to grow and grow your business and scale up your business and move from a one person practice mechanic and open a workshop, then you may have to drop your sleep from 9 hours to 8 hours or from 8 hours to 6 hours. And you may have to miss a function or two over the month and study and learn and practice over the weekend as well as on weekdays in the night so that you could actually gain the skill. If you look at a medical doctor, for example, they spend 7 years harnessing and honing onto their skill. And after 7 years, that medical professional can get into a practice and literally become a business person overnight. They've learned 7 years of their skill. They open a practice, and people come there because there's a need for medicine there's a need to heal, there's a need for care. But with every job an entrepreneur do, there's a need for it. Whether you fix a car, whether you fix an electrical bulb, whether you do plumbing, whether you sell goods and services, if that job exists, there's a need for it. You need to find that hour each night. You need to find the 2 or 3 hours each weekend and study that. If you do not become an expert in that field, whether it is selling fruits and vegetables, whether it is fixing a car, then you would remain a small entrepreneur, and that is no solution. Because it's only when your business grows, then your income grows, and then your wealth grows. And it's only when your business takes off can you become a solution to the economy. If you start employing one person, you start eliminating unemployment. When you start doing it to two, you're creating a solution. And it just comes with sacrifice. There's no substitute for hard work and sacrifice. You can moan, you can groan, and you can say there's no time. But if you had to sit down with me, I'll find the time to show how you can actually use an additional 5 or 6 hours in a week to get that skill that you require. You don't need a degree. NSK Business School is not a substitute for an MBA or a PhD or a DBA. I know that I've walked the entire spectrum of all the studies. You need short skills that can fill the gap so that you can trade better the next day. And that can be achieved in a short period of time. One doesn't need to do an MBA. One doesn't need to do a PhD. Those help you. Those make you an academic, but we don't need academia to solve the problems in the country. We need people working to solve the problems.
Wow. Phew. No, that's this is blowing my mind. It's so what I love about the solutions you're bringing to us. They're so practical. These are the things that nobody can say. But where do I start, or how do I start? Because you're showing us actual practical examples on what we can do, and I feel like it's so true. If you want, and I feel like when you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to start something new, to create something new, you're trying to build wealth. That's always going to be hard, and therefore that's always going to require some sort of sacrifice. But I especially love what you said about how NSK just focuses on what you need in order for you to grow your business, in order for you to start creating employment. And I mean, it goes to the next question that we have, that one of the things you mentioned as failure, the reasons for failure is, a lack of customers, or a lack of understanding what the customer needs, and therefore a lack of customers. And, one of the things that typifies one of the larger businesses, or larger, more successful businesses, is the ability for them to keep on having a flow of customers consistently. Because sometimes small businesses can have one customer a day, two customers a day, maybe tomorrow 5 customers. But a large corporation, they know that they have a certain flow of customers. So what can SMMEs do to start preparing themselves, or to get to a point where they start having a consistent flow, or more constant flow of customers?
I think one of the more affordable mechanisms is put your name out there. Previously you would see, as you drove through South Africa and Johannesburg, you would see a whole host of people with their goods and services being put onto flyers and pamphlets. All right, and they would have to print thousands of them and post it and give it to a whole lot of drivers who don't really want those posters or flyers or brochures. Now we are fortunate now in 2022, where you can access a whole host of social media. So if you want to trade and you're already on WhatsApp, you can belong to so many different WhatsApp groups, residential groups, community groups, friends, associates, family. So put out if you're going to start, for example, fixing cars because you worked for a large dealer, the dealer downsized and you found yourself unfortunately retrenched, but you can fix motor vehicles. So put it out in the social media. Don't be afraid, and humble yourself. You don't need to be afraid to say I've been retrenched. It's not your fault. Retrenchment is a no fault dismissal or termination. So put it out in your immediate group that I'm now fixing cars at my home. Or I could come to you. You get a toolbox. If you know how to fix a car and you've studied more and you've watched YouTube videos more and more, and you've got your experience from physical work, firstly put it out in the social media that you are connected to, that you are now in the trade of repairing cars as a self-employed businessman and as a self-employed mechanic. So start with your immediate networks, family, friends, your neighborhood. Once they start to know that you are able to do it well and that you are ethical in your practice and that you charge a fair rate and you cannot charge the same as a dealer with huge expenses, you build on the first. And the second would be someone who's been referred to you. And you continue because one of the biggest marketing tools is word of mouth for an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs grow when others believe that they've done the work ethically for them. So start by advertising on your platforms that you actually have. Instead of just finding out what others have had for their dinner or looking at pictures of a recent picnic, put out the fact that you are now retrenched and that you are able to fix a certain type of car and that you're willing to do that at the person's home or in your home at a fraction of the price, but you will not compromise on quality. So the person's going to win. They're going to get a skilled mechanic doing the same job at a fraction of a price without the compromise of quality. Why would you not embark on that? So start with the immediate. Get your immediate people to know what you're doing. Get your family and friends to know that you're no longer employed at this large dealer. Because as soon as they know the truth about you, there's a probability for them to come to you. If you consistently lie and purport to be okay and financially fine, nobody's going to come to you and nobody's going to grow your business. So put out there that you are in need for clients. Ask your networks for referrals. Someone has a broken car, someone has a damaged electrical device, someone needs repairs, someone needs a catering company, somebody needs a tailor. Everyone needs these services. If a large company can do it and have millions of clients globally, and they achieve that with each one of us, then if we had to break away, then we basically an ecosystem ourselves. It's just that we have to harness the skills to make it a fully fledged company. So start putting out in social media the services you offer, charge a rate low, but don't compromise on the quality, and then make sure you start getting referrals. Every person's car you fixed, make sure that you get at least two or three other individuals that want to have their cars repaired or serviced or whatever it is, whatever skill that you're actually good at. And if you're not good at it, keep on improving because the better you become, the more in demand someone wants of your skill or service.
Phew. Wow. Sure, that's really really enlightening. Thank you for that. And again, so practical. It's something that any one of us can do right now. And go on our phones and go onto our networks and actually start doing that because this is actually something that's so practical. And I thank you so much for that, sir. Because one of the things I was wondering, it's one thing to have a customer, but how do you keep on having customers? And I like what you said there towards the end when you mentioned the fact that everyone, for example, if you're fixing cars, for every one car that you fix, ask that person if they know three more people. And I feel like with the assurance of quality and good customer service, you will be able to grow. I mean, there's studies that have proven that people are more inclined to buy from businesses when they are referred by someone they know. And I feel like sometimes that's one of the things that as small business owners we don't make use of. Large corporations leverage of the fact that they spend thousands or millions of rands into marketing. That's what helps them. But with us, we should use our networks. We should use what we have at our disposal in order for us to get our names out there. I really, really love that, sir. And thank you. I'm just going to go to another question here. And thank you, guys. Thank you, Marema, for sending that previous question here. We have Millennium Support Services saying, would the doctor agree that there's still a strong sense of being owed a favor by others, which is an attitude that is holding many of us back? We are not willing to stretch ourselves a little more to attain what we desire to achieve in life. Is this a fair observation? Thank you, Millennium. Would you say that, sir, that one of the things holding small businesses back is that sense of being owed something? instead of actually going out there and trying to create the value such that people will demand your services?
If I understand the question or the comment or the observation correctly, I think they are, and I speak a bit subjectively here. So I think many of us, including myself, we feel there is a root or an entitlement of some sort, and the reality is that there is no entitlement. You're not going to be felt somebody owes you a favor. You're not going to gain by just relying on government and public services, or that someone somewhere is going to make your dream happen. uh, if you don't create your own dreams, then you're going to be employed by someone else making their dream come true.
Sure. Wow. That's powerful. Thank you. Thank you for that, sir. And I do also feel like it is a problem because sometimes we do get into the mentality of support my business, so to speak, support my business, support small businesses, support me. And I feel like sometimes the issue with that is it's not sustainable because nobody wakes up. I believe nobody wakes up in the morning saying, "Oh boy, I hope I make somebody else rich today." Right? Nobody is out there trying to make you rich. And sometimes we believe that just because I've got a good product or just because I've got a good service, people should come to me. And when you look at the more established companies, what they've created is value. Nobody goes to Pick and Pay thinking I'm supporting Raymond Ackerman. They're going to Pick and Pay thinking I'm going to get value out of this particular exercise that I'm doing. And because they're deriving consistent value from Pick and Pay, it doesn't matter whether or not they're supporting. And I feel like that's something as small business owners we also need to get to, where we need to get to a place where we're creating so much value that it makes sense for them to buy from us, right? As you said, offer a good or a service at a good quality with good customer service as well as low prices, and I mean that's creating value for small businesses. So I think also just to add on that, it's something that I've seen, and if we can just move from trying to be supported to a place where we are actually creating consistent value, I also believe that that's one of the ways we can actually start having consistent customers. I don't know if you would agree with that, sir.
I would definitely. We need to move. We need to move from this view that others are going to support us. They don't need to support us. There is absolutely no obligation on family, friends, or loved ones to support us. Support us or give us a favor, or lend a help, or give us a begging bowl of some sort. That is a mentality we have to quickly move away from, because we cannot walk around with a begging bowl. As soon as we start offering a service that someone wants, then they would start to pay us without us feeling that there's some sort of obligation for help. We're not going to get help as Africans and South Africans. We need to start creating our own. We need to start selling to others, and we need to become such a value proposition in our own right here in the south of Africa and in Africa, where European countries, the Western developed economies, start coming and saying, "Wow, we need this service in Africa, and we need the service from these African people, not just hone into the minerals that lie beneath the ground in Africa. They need to get our skill, and when there's a need for a specialist skill and continuously specialist skills, then they would want to come here, and each skill resides with each individual. I think each individual, irrespective of how they are or who they are and what their history has actually, where they've started, actually has a skill to end up somewhere large. Whether you're born in destitute or in poverty or impoverishment or completely disadvantaged, that's the circumstances you were in. It's not a circumstances you're going to be in. So you need to exit that. If you're going to live in the circumstances you were born in, then you're not going to exit it. We need to learn how to exit the history to create a better future for ourselves. Many of us, I think, are still hovering and thinking about the circumstances we're born in, and as a result, we take longer to get out of it because we're
Mm.
contemplating why. Why did this happen? Why don't I have funds? Why don't I have training? Why don't I have a degree? Why does the government not help me? Why has the past government not helped me? The reality is nobody's going to do anything for you unless you've decided to exit that realm of your past and move forward so that your future is very different from your past.
Mm.
Nobody else can help you but ourselves. And that
Sure.
could be anything. It could be a painter that knows how to paint, but is able to paint at a reasonable price with good quality painting, and he pitches at someone's house every day, irrespective of the weather. Someone's going to refer him or her to someone else. And that referral will continue increasing until he finds himself unable to do the job himself. And then he becomes an employer of people. And immediately a company is established. Once you've
Sure.
got a client or a number of clients where you can't render the service yourself, a company has evolved.
Wow. Sure. Wow. Oh, wow. That no, that is really profound. Thank you. I feel like we could carry on all night, but unfortunately, we have, we're towards the end. We just have one more question, and it's basically just bringing some of the questions that we had for you together, because you have placed an emphasis on, the importance of upskilling ourselves, the importance of getting our mentality and our mindsets to that of a business owner. And I mean, that doesn't always come naturally to people. And I believe this is why there are training institutions that are there. And you've made an emphasis to the training institutions, and you've made a special emphasis on NSK. And I see a lot of people in the comment section are asking about NSK. If people can get accredited from it, or if it's an online school or a form of an incubation hub, who can enroll? Questions like that. But I just want to ask in general, what are some of the best training institutions or tools that you feel SMMEs would benefit from? Maybe just one or two, so that at least they can do a follow up. They can start saying, okay, from listening to Dr. Kende, here's what I'm going to start doing. Here's what I'm going to Google and look for.
One of it, they are government funded TVET colleges in South Africa. So there are schools that teach certain types of artisans. That's one. I met an entrepreneur who's now changed into a business of and is about to franchise it. And his tool of learning was actually YouTube videos. Believe me or not, he actually got data from family and friends. So he tended to actually plead for a while to get free data from people that could send him data or buy him data or transfer the data. And he watched and he continued watching a whole host of YouTube videos until he mastered the skill that he already had, and then started getting people to work under him and formed a large landscaping and gardening service, and now
Hmm.
actually franchise that. So you could learn from tools like YouTube videos. You could learn from someone that has run this business before. Go and speak to them, chat to them, humble yourself, and get an idea or two. Speak to neighbors and friends that want the service. That's on the marketing side. On the study side, there are now institutions which you can study for, where you can access the content free. But in order for you to write the exams and get accredited, you will need to pay. But you don't need accreditation immediately. You need the skill. So there's a whole host of which people can, either call or write to me, that can access information free, universities free, in terms of content. And then, should they want to be accredited or write the exams, then they would need to obviously pay. Then, of course, there's individuals like me who meet with individuals and train at a very affordable price on weekends, Saturday evenings and Sundays. I know, being an entrepreneur myself, is that you're occupied to 8 to 10 hours during the workday. So
Mm.
our teaching and training is done after hours and weekends and public holidays. So they can actually embark on getting together and meeting with myself and learning little tools and techniques about governance and setting up your company right so that you're actually able to scale up and irrespective of what that is, whether it's selling a little bit of fruit and vegetable, whether it's a painting job to become a bigger painting contractor, or whether it's a building person that wants to become a builder and a building construction person. So there's access of information via the net, universities that you can subscribe to access the learning material free. But as I said, to write exams and get accreditation, you need to pay. And some skills you need to know and have rather than to walk around saying I'm certified. Certification doesn't really open many doors. If it did, then we would not have the high level of unemployment as we have in South Africa. It's
Yeah.
not the certification that carries the weight, it's the skill, the knowledge, and the ability to apply yourself quickly and at a high quality.
Phew. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. So everyone, Dr. Kende has just given us practical tips. So if you're listening and you're like, what do I do next? Now we know where we can start. And these are some of the things that I didn't know personally as well. They were available and definitely going to be making use of them. And thank you so much, sir, for today. I feel like everybody who's joined in has learned so much. I can see in the comment section. Maybe I can just take one comment over here. This is Colleen Allen saying, powerful session and nuggets. Thank you for these eye-opening facts, Dr. Kende. And I mean, she echoes my sentiments as well. What you've taught us today, and remember, I'd want to remind this to everyone in this 45 minutes that Dr. Kende has been talking to us. I mean, there's years, 25 years of experience behind him. So he's talking from a viewpoint of having have been there, having have learned, having have worked with the largest corporations in the world or in the country, and he's packaging them, into these 45 minutes. And we really, really appreciate that so much. We appreciate you coming through and joining us. We hope you're going to be able to join us again in the future because I feel like there's just so much more we can be able to learn from you. But for today, this is all that we have time for. We just want to say thank you so much for playing the role that you play for entrepreneurs. Your school is rightly positioned to help so many SMMEs out, and we want to say thank you and wish you all the best. But before we let you go, maybe you can have a few words of, maybe just telling us about the NSK Business School, how people can join in and things along those lines, and just any final remarks.
Yes, we open to anyone. It's a group of us that have become strategic partners. You don't need any form of qualification to join. Training can be done at various centers nationally. We use various hotels and conference centers to run practical workshops. Many of the workshops I do myself, facilitating face to face, because I believe that's the best tool to use. Where I cannot get to people face to face, we do it online. And if individuals want to be accredited, then we do the accreditation process by getting individuals to do assignments and projects, which is needed by the South African Qualifications Authority, SAQA, as well as the Council for Higher Education. But most important, we run short interventions. So you can get to me. I think Mr. Ntokozo, you can give the details out. I'm not sure which platform you can use to give my email and mobile, but they're welcome to email me at any stage, and I will respond to them in terms of what we do, how we do it, how accessible we are. We don't compete with the big schools. We customize. We are a learning boutique offering, and this boutique applies to anyone, from somebody that is willing to start learning, all the way to somebody who's learned enough and just wants to add a little gap or fill in a little gap in some other area that he or she actually requires to be trained on. So it's a very flexible training, short interventions packaged almost like dynamite bits, and you can access it immediately the next day once you've been in the training.
Phew. Wow, thank you. Thank you. Well, guys, you heard it here on the Business Forecast. Dr. Nischal Khandai and the NSK School is available for anyone who wants to join. I would certainly recommend it myself. And I'm definitely going to follow up on it. And as we're building this network of individuals, we want this knowledge to be widespread as much as possible so that we change that dynamic of small business failure. We change that cycle and break it. And I believe these sorts of talks are some of the ways in which we can do that. So, sir, once again, we want to say thank you very much. Thank you for your talks. And if there's any other questions or comments, I will make sure I forward them to you. And I will make sure that I give everyone your details, your emails on YouTube and on Facebook when we post the video up. So yes, that is all that we have from Dr. Khandai today, sir. We want to say goodbye and all the best on your future endeavors.
Thank you very much, and the pleasure is all mine. Keep well and prosper.
All right, guys. Wow, that was absolutely incredible from Dr. Kende. I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And as I said, these are some of the things that we're putting in place. I mean, you might wonder why we're doing this. Why is there so many? There's so many other podcasts for business out there. Why are we doing what we're doing? And really, the reason for that is, we're building slowly but surely. But it's not just shows for entertainment. We want to keep on building on this knowledge until there is enough knowledge available for all of us here to actually, grow our businesses to the next level. So that was the fourth installment that we had today from Dr. Kende. Now we're just going to go into the last segment of the show today, and that is the Pro You segment, where we are going to be showcasing 10 of your businesses right here for free. So please, if you're watching, just stick around. You might need some of these products that our entrepreneurs are selling. So right now it's time for Pro You. All right. So these are the companies that we have for you today. You can make sure that you take down their details right here. First, we've got Gabello Management and Projects. They offer a service, and that is graphic designing, and they're based in Soshanguve. Then we have MK Electrical. They offer a service, and that service is construction, and they are based in the Eastern Cape. And then sorry. Sorry. Then we have Ala King Creatives here, and they offer a service, and that service is e-commerce solutions. So if you want some e-commerce solutions, you can go and visit them. They are based in Cape Town. Then we have Inka Zumulo Consultants. They offer a service, and their service is business consulting based in Johannesburg. Then we have eCost. eCost offers a service that is online recruitment solutions, and they are based in Johannesburg. And then we have Risa Pusha. They offer a product, and their product is clothing. So they are a clothing brand, and they are based in Soweto. Then we have Vugani M Productions. Actually, want to give out a shout out to Vugani M Productions, because they are the ones that are offering us, our media production setup for today. They offer a service, and that is media services, and they are based in Benoni. Then we have the Magora Clan. They offer logistics services based in Johannesburg. Then we have Rise Services. They offer a service, and that is construction based in Roodepoort. And lastly, we have Mtembu Legal Services, who offer legal services, and they are based in Secunda. So yes, those are the 10 companies that we have for you today. If you are in that area and you need those services, do make sure that you do contact them, because as I said, we're trying to build up this ecosystem, helping each other grow, growing together. We're going to keep promoting them over and over. As time goes on, we're actually going to be going to where they are, taking videos of what they're doing, so that we just keep promoting each other, making sure that we're visible and as visible as possible, because this is what we're all about: small business growth, small business success. And we thank you so much that you have joined us today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We will be back next week with an awesome episode. So please make sure you come back next week, and you've got people that you've invited through. As Dr. Kende said, always look for referrals. So please refer other people to the show if you enjoyed it, so that we can spread this knowledge to as many people as possible. And if you do want to have your business showcased as well, make sure you on the comment section, you can just send through your logo and your business information, and we'll make sure we also showcase your business. So yeah, guys, that is all that we have for today. Unfortunately, today we won't have time to do the filigree plug section, but don't worry, we've got those plugs that we planned out for you guys. Great opportunities in funding, great opportunities in Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Thank you for the 5 people who stayed on with us. Love you. Thank you so much for joining in. That's all for today. See you next week on the Business Forecast. Keep busy, keep pushing, and I wish you all the best for your business.